Alfa Romeo started fitting their iconic V6, the Busso, in the late 1970s to the Alfa 6, but then, more importantly, crowbarred one into an Alfetta to create the screaming GT V6. And it didn't end there. The SZ had a V6, so did the Spider, the GTV, and of course the likes of the 155, 166 and the stunning 156. So when Alfa decided to build some more performance cars a few years ago, there was only one engine they could turn to. Welcome, therefore, to the latest Alfa Romeo to be fitted with a big screaming V6. Although this time it's not a Busso, and the car it's in is something a little bit different. You see, this is not a sports car, it's not even a fast coupe, and it's not a fast saloon. This is a big old SUV. This is the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, and if you ask me to describe what type of car this is, I might struggle a little bit. There's no denying it's a big old beast. It weighs in at just under 2 tons, it's nearly 5 metres long and 1.6 metres tall, but to describe it as an SUV in the modern sense of the word would be to do it a bit of a disservice. However, it's definitely a sports utility vehicle. Outside, I think Alfa Romeo have got the Stelvio pretty much spot on. They've obviously aimed very hard at making it look like its smaller but equally good-looking sister, the Giulia. But grafting the face from a smaller car onto a much bigger one isn't exactly a simple task, and Alfa Romeo could quite easily have messed this up in a big way. Fortunately, they didn't, as you can see. Up front, the Stelvio Quadrifoglio is all angular and muscly, feeling rather like you shouldn't turn your back on it, just in case you do something it doesn't like. From the side, it's an SUV, sort of big and bulbous as they are, but at the back, we're back in aggressive territory. It's all quad exhausts and faux diffusers. Basically, what Alfa Romeo have done is they've taken the Stelvio and thrown their whole toolkit at it to stop it looking like a big old lump. And you know what? It's worked. Inside, the Stelvio Quadrifoglio is modern Alfa Romeo as you would expect, except there's carbon fibre absolutely everywhere. There's carbon fibre here, there's carbon fibre down there, there's carbon fibre over there, there's carbon fibre behind you, behind me, off to the left, off to the right. And it will appeal to many people, but not really to me. However, there are some extremely nice touches in here just to set it apart. You've got the green and white stitching all around, and this black Alfa Romeo badge really is very fetching. But blah, 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 big boot, 5 seats, sit lots of people, very nice. That is not what you're here to find out, is it? You want me to answer that very stereotypical question of, is this a real Alfa Romeo? Well, just listen to this. Pretty good, no? That's the turbocharged 3-litre V6 engine I spoke about earlier. It's snugly sat just in front of me there, and the Stelvio Quadrifoglio will hit 62 miles an hour in just 3.8 seconds, and it will wang its way on to 176 miles an hour, should you really want to drive a 2-bed flat at that kind of speed. Steering is very nice, it's not too heavy, it's not too soft. However, it's not likely to telegraph every single move the Stelvio does to your fingertips. However, when you start driving this car fast, it starts to feel like a bit of a pocket rocket, even though it's the size of a Saturn V. The chassis feels a lot smaller than it does, and the moment that you start to push it, everything feels like it compacts around you. When you stick your foot down, the throttle response for a turbocharged SUV is quite phenomenal, and with 100% of the power going to the back and the fronts chiming in when they feel the need, the traction is incredible both off the line and out of a corner. Driving this big car fast is incredibly fun. There's a little fizz about it that I can't quite explain. It feels like, rather than just ramming a massive engine into a standard 4x4, Alfa Romeo have really done the legwork here. They've spent some time making sure that the Stelvio feels like the kind of car people expect from Alfa Romeo, rather than just making do and mending and saying, here's a big car with a big old engine. But what about that question at the very beginning? is the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio an SUV? Well, the obvious answer is yes, of course it is. Shut up with your daft questions. But there's something more to this car than that. The field of SUVs these days is full of great, big, very useful vehicles that perhaps fit what we expect rather than what they should do. Let's think about what those three letters stood for. Sports utility vehicle. This car is sporty, it's definitely utilitarian, so perhaps we've found what SUV should have stood for all along.